So we hear so much right now about the gut-brain axis and how your brain is impacted by your gut microbiome. Well, neuroimmunology, which is like my passion, takes the gut, the brain, it incorporates the blood, the tissue, right? And all of the connections of how the immune system interfaces with your autonomic or your nervous system. Everything from how you sleep to how you feel to whether you burn fat or store fat. When I talk about putting power on your plate as we heal the metabolism, this is at the crux of it all. How does nutrition impact your neuroinflammatory response in the body? So this is nutrition and neuroimmunology, right? How your body's immune system, your inflammatory system, your storage, your burn, your build system interacts with the food you eat. So there's this really intricate relationship between nutrition, immune function, and neurological health, right? Whether you have good memory and cognition, whether you're nimble, whether you have strong bones, all of it is impacted. And there's a really strong connection with that gut microbiome brain axis. And so I want to talk about how you can actually put power on your plate, looking at different dietary patterns that can influence neuroinflammation and also even neurodegenerative diseases, autoimmune things like Parkinson's, MS, even Alzheimer's. So the neuroimmune interface is kind of a primer in the body. And what I mean by that is we have the central nervous system, right? So this is all of I'm going to use the word the parts, right? The neurons, the glia cells, the blood-brain barrier, the tissue of the central nervous system. Then we have what we call the immune system. You guys might have heard during COVID things about cytokine storm, the microglia, the immune system associated with the brain, maybe even T cells, right? Part of your immune system, or macrophages, things that go in and chomp up the bad guys in the body. And all of that is responsible and responsive based on your current homeostasis or your current balance. Things like inflammation regulate that. And also your immune system or your protectiveness, right? Reactivity towards something bad, response to an invader or a virus or a bacteria. So I want to talk about things that can impact this. First, I want you to think of this as, they call it biodirectional, which means there's this feedback loop, right? Our homeostasis or our balance is based on our environment, is based on what we consume, it's based on what we think, it's based on what we drink. We're trying to always fighting to keep the body here and alive. It's kind of amazing, actually.
Hey there, it's Haylie. Isn't this an amazing episode? You're probably feeling right now like you could use a cleanse. If you want me to walk you through the process, go to HayliePomroy.com/cleanse. That's HayliePomroy.com/cleanse. I will take you through the process of feeding your body so that it can actively detoxify.
So we're very protective of our brain. We have this barrier called the blood-brain barrier. We're very protective of it with infection in our spinal column. Our body has these barriers that keeps things, even if it can be in the blood, in your arm, in your leg, we have this really strong barrier in the nervous system. But a lot of toxins and toxic exposure can permeate that and cause a lot of stress, especially things like we call oxidative stress, things that are advanced aging in our body. Oxidative stress can be, again, chemicals, toxins, heavy metals, but even also in the way we cook and process our foods. So let's look at what we can do about that. One is we need to make sure that we have the appropriate amino acids in our body. When we consume protein, we want to make sure that we can actually digest that protein, because protein is broken down into amino acids, and that is the building blocks to build all of our tissue, right? It also is what builds all of our DNA, all of our genetic makeup, and our epigenetic, right? When genes turn on and off, response to things we're exposed to. So we need to make sure that our digestion is good, that we're chewing good, that we do the digestive reserve testing as a community regularly, that we're taking our digestive enzymes with each meal, especially if those meals have proteins and complex carbohydrates in them. Then we need to look at fatty acids when we are focusing on nutrition to balance that homeostasis between inflammation and our adaptability. So with fatty acids, they do a couple different things. So when you think of the metabolism fatty acids, those are food-based fatty acids, omega-3s and 6s. Fatty acids help build up all of your cell walls, but they also go in and they help flush out what we talked about earlier, oxidative stress or advanced aging in the body. So remember, we need to consume protein, but we need to break down protein, but there has to be diversity. So that's why with the fast metabolism diet, we aren't doing the same protein in each phase. Sometimes we're using complex carb-based proteins like legumes, beans, lentils. That's why we add all kinds of vegetables. Those have those phytoenzymes in them to take the protein and break them down into amino acids. There are some specific amino acids that are really supportive for the nervous system, right? So that the body can be adaptive to stress. Things like tryptophan, theanine, arginine. And you'll notice in the phase 1, 2, and 3 powders of the fast metabolism diet, I've loaded the already balanced protein in those powders, the really digestible protein, but with targeted amino acids to support adrenal, liver, and hormone balance. Nutrients that I want you to think about if you're noticing your homeostasis is off, right? So you're pro-inflammatory, you're insulin resistant, your immune system isn't responding very well. Zinc is the first and foremost, and you'll notice we have zinc out separately. There are a lot of reasons why we're seeing sudden zinc deficiency, and some of it is the increase in organics in our environment, which is great, except for commercially they use a lot of copper-based fungicides. Copper binds with zinc in the body, causing a zinc deficiency in our body. So if you're noticing adrenal insufficiency, nervousness, not a lot of resilience to stress, or normal stressors feel bigger than normal, consider zinc. The other is selenium. And in our metabolism shake, there are very rich selenium-based foods, and there is selenium supplementation in there. Selenium is really important when we talk about inflammatory properties. Again, in here, I talked about cytokines and TNF alpha. These are really intricate parts of your immune system. So selenium is critical so that your immune system is not in a constant fight state, pushing up cortisol. Sometimes people say cortisol promotes inflammation, but inflammation can also promote cortisol. And then really healthy balance of vitamins. Metabolism Multi, when I pulled that formula together, it's not about just having vitamins and minerals, but it's also having cofactors that make it really easy for the body to have nutrients accessible, to be nimble and to adapt. If there's deficiency, this is what we risk. We're at increased risk of inflammation, increased risk of elevated inflammatory markers, increased risk of cognitive impairment. This is for deficiencies, right? And also what we call epigenetic alterations. What I mean by that is genes turning on that you don't want to be on. So how can we combat this? We need to be very diverse in our dietary intake. We need to, because that's going to promote a good gut microbiome. That's going to help the gut re-inoculate and flourish. It needs biodiversity and micronutrients. Fast metabolism diet, when we're changing between phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, or you're layering in a burn. That's why when we work at that intensive repair, I only have it for a period of time. We have to make sure that we're constantly nurturing that adaptive, that healthy adaptive piece in our body. We need to be able to digest our food. We need to be able to heal the gut microbiome. And also we need to be able to flush out a buildup of inflammatory enzymes and proteins in the body. So that's the fatty acids, the healthy fats, right? And enough vitamin C. So let's talk about a couple things really quick. We're going to talk about short chain fatty acids, tryptophan, bile activations, neurotransmitter precursors. So I want to hit on these really briefly. So fatty acids, again, give you strong cells and flush out damaged cells. Tryptophan metabolites help inoculate the gut and help serotonin reach up into the brain so that the brain can have good cognition and function. Bile acid derivatives help the body actually break down those proteins into amino acids. They help emulsify the fats. And then neurotransmitter precursors, things like GABA, can be really critically important so the body can use micronutrients like magnesium. So you'll notice in the metabolism stress blend, I've got a cofactor of GABA in there. I am not a big fan of individuals taking magnesium that can be utilized efficiently in the body without the cofactor of GABA. It helps cool off the excitation in the neurotransmitters and allows the body to receive all the benefits from the magnesium. So studies have shown that just by changing your dietary patterns, by eating whole foods, by rotating your foods, you can have a 30% reduction in neuroinflammation. There is not a drug on the market that comes within 10%, period. You can have an increase of 42% in 1 week of eating a traditional Western diet, the SAD diet, standard American diet, processed food, 42% increase in inflammatory markers in 1 week. By eating anti-inflammatory, like fast metabolism diet, like Food RX, all those plans, like the 10-day cleanse, those are all very strong anti-inflammatory diet. You can have a 25% decrease in neurodegenerative risk. So that means neurodegenerative, right? Cognitively, brain, Alzheimer's, all of the things where our tissue starts to degenerate prematurely. So whole foods have a protective mechanism. We're looking for polyphenols. That's your rainbow, eating a rainbow, right? We're looking for fatty acids, critically important. We're looking for fiber, whole foods. We're also looking for balanced macro and micronutrients. That's the diversity in the fast metabolism diet. So another little thing that we want to put in here is to make sure that you are doing pre and probiotics in order to balance the immune system. Remember, somewhere between 80 and 90% of our immune balance comes from the gut. When we're eating non-organic, we're destroying our gut flora on a daily basis. So you're going to want to make sure you're taking your probiotics daily, but you're doing a lot of the fermented vegetables. Check out my fermented salsa recipe. It's delicious and amazing. Okay, just want to give you some ideas from a clinical perspective. So there are some things that you can do to assess your current nutritional balance. There's one that's called NutriVal. I'm not super crazy about it, but it does give an indication of are you getting enough fatty acids, enough probiotics. I will tell you that most people that come in that don't feel well, their NutriVals are terrible. And so it's costly, it's not cheap. But I feel like if you're not feeling great, we need to flood you before we kind of get an assessment. Some people just like to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. They want to see how terrible things are going. It's one of those that when someone comes in and they can't lose weight, they have midsection weight gain, they have inflammation, they're fatigued, they feel anxiety, their NutriVals are going to be terrible. I would rather them invest in the solution. So we'll start with a 10-day cleanse. We'll do the fast metabolism diet. We'll make sure that we get the magnesium and the GABA. We'll get them some vitamin C. We'll double down on our fatty acids. We'll nourish the body. We'll fill the void first and give their body a fighting chance, right? Before we sit and look at it. But you will see some docs run those. Biomarker monitoring. So we like to, in this community, create a protocol for progress, right? If your sex hormone binding globulin has been off for 4 years, we don't want to just watch that be off. We want to focus and get that changed. And that's what our challenges are for, so that we can look at your body. That's what this community is for. We can look at your labs and we can help tailor any of the programs to that. Personalized intervention, right? You have a different genetic makeup. You have had different experiences that trigger or stimulate different epigenetics. You're in a different hormone phase in your life than me. In this community, when you're going through things, let us know as much as possible about you so we can tailor the diet very specifically. And then I just want to encourage you all to make sure that you fire your doctor if they're not 100% supportive of you working on your health and wellness, and find a multidisciplinary team. I've been fortunate to work with a lot of different clinics at the Institute for Neuroimmune Medicine, where I'm at now. We have environmental medicine, individuals that specialize in mycotoxins, immunology, nutrition, acupuncture, hematology. And when you find a multidisciplinary practice, those are the kind of individuals that are not going to make you feel gaslit or crazy, right? If you feel like something's out of balance. So the takeaway here is nurture your body, nutrition up, diversity, probiotics, fatty acids, multivitamin at the very minimum, and then do your health wish list, your self-assessment, and let's dig in and get a program that's perfect for you.